Hey, welcome to the Podcast Profits Workshop. Whether you're a brand new podcaster or you've been doing your show for years, this is the place to be to learn how to build the framework to make money with your podcast. I'm Eric K. Johnson, founder of Podcast Talent Coach. I have been coaching broadcasters and podcasters now for over 25 years. Since 1995, I've been coaching award-winning morning shows, award-winning podcasters, and highly successful and profitable radio stations because it is my passion to teach you how to share your message effectively to build powerful relationships. This is the first of 3 videos where you're going to learn how to create a framework to generate dollars and downloads with your podcast. This is going to be the foundation of making money with your show. So how do you build that framework and how do you create that strategy with your show? That's the goal of this workshop, to teach you the critical things that you need to know in order to make money with your podcast without feeling like you're selling your soul. You know, I didn't always know how to create money with my podcast. I always thought ads and sponsorships were the answer. I heard so many other podcasts having ads and sponsors on their show. I thought that had to be the place to be. So I started studying sponsorships for your show, and I soon realized that you needed to have quite the large audience in order to attract those big-time sponsors. I didn't have a large audience. I knew that wasn't going to be the method for me. I knew there had to be a better, more effective, and more efficient way to create revenue with your podcast. And that's when I found myself sitting in a hotel ballroom in Las Vegas in January of 2014. I was sitting there in a lecture, and that's when it all started coming to me. It all started to become clear. I had been searching for ways to make money with my podcast for over a year, and suddenly it was right in front of me. Suddenly I started piecing everything together that I had learned over the years since 1995, coaching all of these broadcasters and podcasters. And over the next few days, I would start creating the framework that I'm going to teach you so you can learn how to make money with your podcast without feeling like some slick, greasy salesman, without cluttering up your show with all those ads and all those sponsorships that everybody is trying to get away from as they flee traditional broadcast radio. What I've done is I've started to distill the years of experience that I've had teaching broadcasters and building successful radio stations down into a framework that will allow you to start creating money with your podcast so you can generate downloads and you can start creating revenue in the right way without feeling like that slick salesman, without feeling like you're selling your soul, and without cluttering up your show with a whole bunch of ads. We call it Podcast Profits Workshop, and it all started right there in 2014. So let's dig in. Right here in this first video, we're going to focus on creating dollars and downloads in a framework for you. That event in Las Vegas, that was New Media Expo 2014. My flight had landed in Las Vegas mid-morning. The conference had already started at 8 a.m. So I was on my way over to the hotel, and I walked in just as Michael Hyatt's session was just beginning. Michael's the author of the book Platform. He hosts a podcast. He runs Platform University, which is an online community for those building their platform. The title of Michael's presentation was 5 Elements to a Powerful Personal Brand. And there were 2 points that I took from Michael's presentation and combined with my previous 25 years of experience, and that's when it really started to hit home. The first point Michael made was that powerful brands have a well-defined audience. And I started thinking back over my 25 years of radio, and I thought, well, of course, we've done this for years. As I've built successful radio stations, I know it all begins with the listener. Before you can leverage your attention, the attention that you gain through your podcast, you need to define that audience that you have as one single individual. Know everything you can about that one person. Most importantly, determine their wants, their needs, their goals, and their fears. Because when you can describe your ideal listener as one single individual, you can then refine the content on your show and your marketing message to that specific person. Your message will be much more meaningful. It will be so much more powerful. It will be as if your solution was created specifically for that person rather than some generic faceless group. The second point that Michael made was a powerful brand has a clear value proposition. And I thought, well, of course, we've done that for years in radio as well. People don't buy products or services. They buy solutions. And your solution is included in that value proposition that Michael was talking about. As you create your revenue streams, there are 3 questions that you need to answer. Who do you help? What do you help them do? And what value does it offer? Now, if you look at Podcast Talent Coach, I help podcasters transform their information into engaging entertainment so they can develop powerful relationships and drive their business with their podcast. So if you look at the 3 questions, who do you help? I help podcasters. What do you help them do? I help them transform their information into engaging entertainment. And what value does that offer? Well, they can develop powerful relationships and drive their business with their podcast. So in order for you to answer your 3 questions, you need to first define your ideal target listener. Determine what your listener wants, what your listener needs. What are their goals and fears? When you know that, you can create your content, your message, your products, and your services with laser focus. You know, I've done many strategy calls with podcasters over the years. I get together, we talk about their goals. During those calls, I ask about their goals over the next 12 months. 12 months from today, where do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish? When we talk about the struggles that they face trying to reach those goals and what they've tried, what has succeeded, what has failed. And through these questions, I can then help them develop a strategy to reach their goals while overcoming the challenges and the hurdles in front of them. Well, I went through all of those intake forms that I get from podcasters just to find all of the commonalities. And most podcasters I meet want more engagement and they want to make money with their show. Sound familiar? Well, what do your listeners want and need? Survey your listeners if you need to, but figure out what they want and need. Download the Ideal Target Listener Worksheet. It's below, and you can begin to define your single ideal listener. Define that one person so vividly you can see them standing in front of you. Now, one important note, making your target more focused does not restrict your audience. So many people think, well, I want a big audience. I don't want a little audience. I can't narrow it down to one person. You know, many podcasters want an audience as large as possible. I get that. They tell me all the time, my podcast is for everyone. Well, if your podcast is for everyone, it's really for no one. Let's take the Discovery Channel, for example. Imagine the Discovery Channel is going to create some specialty programming. So they're going to create Animal Week. All week is going to be about animals. How many people would be talking about that at work? So they say, you know what? It's not catchy enough. So in a meeting, they decide to refine it. They want to focus it a little bit more. They want it to be Animals of the Water Week. So all animals that live in the water, that's what the week is going to be like. Is that going to create some buzz? No, they decide that's not quite sexy enough. So they narrow it down even further to Shark Week. How much easier does it become if you have Shark Week to create the content, to create the marketing, and to create the buzz? You know exactly what you're going to receive. You know exactly what you're getting. You can envision Shark Week, right? You can't envision Animal Week. Animal Week means nothing. It's too broad. You can't be for everyone. You have to be for someone specific. And the Shark Week blew up and became huge. Let's take sports, for example. If you want to hear news about professional American football, not soccer as we call it, would your first stop be the Sportscast on your nightly news? I'm sure they talk some football. Could be. You could get a little football there. But, I mean, if you really want football, wouldn't you be better served by going to the sports talk shows on the television sports channels? Football would surely be part of those broadcasts, right? Well, that might serve your needs, but they may be talking basketball. They may be talking soccer. They may be talking baseball. You want football. Well, how about you go to the NFL Football Network? Could you be confident that you'd find the perfect content right there? Of course. Now, is their audience smaller than the broad sports channels? Yes. Is it more effective to people who love football? Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. More focus equals content that is more meaningful for your audience. Your message becomes much more effective. Your focused content on that particular channel may not be for everyone, and that's okay because it's going to be for the right people, those who want what you offer. That's what you get when you laser focus to one single individual. Another myth that people believe is that you need to have this huge audience in order to begin making money with your podcast. Again, that isn't the case when you have the right audience. If you're broadcasting on a general network, a small fraction of the audience will be interested in what you have. When you laser focus to your target audience and you know exactly what they want and need, almost everybody in the audience is the right audience. If you have a few passionate listeners who want and need exactly what you have to offer, you can begin making money with your show. If you know what they need and you know what they want and you know what they're willing to spend money on. If you've uncovered their true goals and struggles, you'll know exactly what you need to offer and how to offer it. The process begins by defining your ideal target listener. It's possible to begin generating money with your podcast, even with a small audience. You just need to define your target listener and build the framework that will help them succeed. So download the Ideal Target Listener Worksheet and get started on that today. In the next video, we're going to cover the pieces that make up your revenue framework and how you can start making money using that framework. I'm also going to show you how to create powerful lead magnets, those free pieces of content that you can offer to get people on your mailing list. Now, this is really important because a strong mailing list allows you to have regular communication with your ideal listeners and begin building that relationship. We're going to get into that in the next video. Right now, though, I want to know a little more about you. What does being able to make money with your podcast mean to you? Head on over to the Podcast Talent Coach Facebook page and leave me a comment there. Join in the conversation. You can find it at facebook.com/podcast talent coach right there. Get in the conversation. And of course, if you liked this video and you found it useful, I would love if you shared it with your friends. Can't wait to jump into video number 2 with you. I'll see you over there.